12 individuals, including high-ranking current and former staff of the National Service Authority, have been implicated in a 548 million cedis ghost name scandal undertaken by the National Intelligence Bureau and the Office of the Attorney General. Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, at a media briefing today, confirmed that his office has concluded its investigations into the elaborate payroll fraud scheme that led to the loss of public funds. The Attorney General is getting ready to file criminal charges against all 12 individuals involved in the alleged criminal enterprise. Now, we're going to get you details of exactly who are these individuals. But first, take a listen to Dr. Dominic Ayine, the Attorney General, addressing the press not too long ago.
In total, we can confirm from our evidence on the docket and from interrogations that a whopping 548,333,542 cedis and 65 pesos. That's how accurate we are. 36 cedis and 16 pesos was service personnel generated from the central management system and submitted to the NSA accounts office, and the data of the NSA personnel who were actually paid through the gift system for a period of 6 years. That is from 2018 to 2024. It was established that a total of 587,543 personnel were to be submitted to gifts for payment of allowances. Meanwhile, data from gifts showed that a total of 650,165 personnel were paid, indicating that 63,672 constituted ghost names. These consisted of the following categories of personnel. That is, National Service personnel who were blocked on the CMS system during the registration process. Then personnel, National Service personnel numbers that exist in the payment records but do not exist on the central management system. And then, of course, NSA or National Service volunteers, and then some management staff and marketplace vendors. Fellow countrymen and women, our investigators additionally established that some of the ghost names were added to the list submitted by vendors, representing the number of service personnel to whom they had supplied items or provided loan facilities, allegedly. When these vendors eventually received the payments, the directors and staff would then contact the vendors whose accounts had received payments, meet with them, and collect the additional money that had been added to the vendors' payments. For instance, we have conclusively established that after collecting these funds, some of the suspects, such as Gezi, Nyako, and Othing, handed them over to suspect Ose Asibe Entry in cash, and on some occasions deposited the cash into his bank account. Ose Asibe was the Chief Executive, the Director General of the National Service Authority. Some directors, such as Gifty Owari Mensah, created and executed a meticulously detailed plan using NSP, National Service Personnel Allowances, as security to obtain a loan of 30,698,218 cedis, 69 pesos, from the Agricultural Development Bank, ADB, at an interest rate of 23%. She achieved these results by using other people's information to register a company called Blocks of Life Consult without their knowledge or permission. Subsequently, she presented Blocks of Life Consult through and in the person of Akwesi Ofori Minta to an official of the Agricultural Development Bank, and enlisting her husband, Mr. Peter Mensah, a lawyer, to act as one of the directors or representative of the said company. She told ADB that the company specialized in supplying home appliances to national service personnel and proposed that ADB finance the company to enable it to supply these items on hire purchase basis to the service personnel, with the NSA being responsible for handling deductions and repayments. During the period, Gifty was the acting director, Gifty Oware Mensah was the acting director of the authority. However, on the marketplace of the authority, there was no indication that Blocks of Life was a registered vendor. Within 2 service years, suspect Gifty Oware Mensah used a total of 9,934 ghost names to misappropriate the aforementioned funds. Investigation further established that after ADB transferred the funds into the account of the company, she subsequently transferred the funds into 4 different company accounts with the names of Amiacom, Scaffold, Oche, and Aristo Logistics and Trading. It was further established that suspect Gifty is a director of Amiacom, and Scaffold Company Limited belongs to suspect Abraham Gezi. That between 3rd March 2023 and 24th May 2024, suspect Gifty transferred 22,925,518 Ghana cedis and 69 pesos to Amiacom, 1 million Ghana cedis to Scaffold, 1,572,000 Ghana cedis to Oche, and 5,200,000 Ghana cedis to Aristo Logistics and Training. We have this on record. We have all the bank details. We have everything, in the docket. Investigations, however, established that Eric Nyako, from 2017 until April 2024, and Idrisu Ibn Abubakar, April 2024 to December 2024, were responsible for preparing and transmitting NSP payroll data to GIPS for payment of allowances with the approval of the former NSA Director General, Mustafa Yusuf, who is now an MP, Gifty Oware Abuaje, acting from February 2021 to September 2021, and Osea Sibe Enchwe, September 2021 to January 2025. Without their explicit authority, nothing was possible. In other words, all these transfers could not have taken place without the authorization of the chief executive officers and or the director general, depending on the nomenclature that was used to describe their roles.
That's the Attorney General, Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine. They're giving some very, very interesting and rather concerning detail of the investigations into this National Service ghost name scandal. Now, Martin Pebo is privately legal practitioner, has been monitoring this quite closely and is joining us on the telephone. Counsel, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, good evening. It's what I can say.
Is this one of the cases that was captured in the oral preparatory team's report, the National Service ghost name scandal?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. It's actually, at a point, the case was already made public. I think they had gone to OSP. But, with subsequent, events, it turned out that it would be good to come to the oral preparatory team. And so that's what they did. And then now we're seeing. So meaning that they are largely corruption, non-corruption, causing financial loss, etc. That's how come it's appropriate for the Attorney General to deal with those.
And hearing the detail today at that press briefing by the Attorney General, suspect Gifty Oware Mensah use the NSS data as collateral for some over 30 million loan from the ADB, subsequently transferred it to other companies that had been established in this entire, what the Attorney General described as a criminal enterprise, essentially. And then also 8.2 million cedis paid into an eSwitch account belonging to the former NSA boss, Osea Sibe Enchi, And then also beyond that, Mustafa Yusuf, who became the Youth and Sports Minister, served as a Director General at some point, and Gift Owari Mensah and 10 other persons as well who are going to be prosecuted. And then we're getting to know as well the details of how all of this played out, this entire scheme that cost the nation, from what we've been told today, over 548 million cedis. How does all of this detail you had today strike you?
Yeah, so with the details, my first thought was that, so it's good we really change government, right? It's good we booted out the NPP. Because you wouldn't have had an NPP government investigating itself the manner in which Dr. Ayine and his friends are doing. No, it wouldn't have happened. It would have been a cover-up. And at least, I have the case of the Aqua Africa contract, the one Cicely Adapa entered into without the Attorney General's opinion, etc. As an empirical example to buttress my point, when the Attorney General's attention was drawn to how we had lost money because Cicely Adapa paid money contrary to the rules, etc., through the Community Water and Sanitation Agency, Attorney General just said, they should recover the money. The Attorney General didn't reveal to us, that's Godfrey Dami, for accountability purposes, etc. So this National Service Authority scandal, it would similarly have been swept under the carpet. You report, but you won't get any results. It's just like the Cicely Adapa case. You remember last week you played a tape where Kisi Ejabe said, Mr. Raymond Archer has come for the file on Cicely Adapa to go and continue investigations. And Kisi Ejabe himself said that you see how a different leader has decided to continue. But Tiwa Adodankwa teamed up with Godfrey Dami to say, they cannot do money laundering investigations because there's no predicate offense, etc. So it just tells you that, it's good we just booted out the NPP. That's the first thing, to help get better governance, because all of these cases were just going to be kept under the wraps. Yes, that's the main point. As for, dissipation of public funds, yes, that's the second point. But it's actually also embedded in the first point, that wouldn't have had accountability, but for the change in the government. So the second point is that there's a good opportunity for us to recover a lot of the money. Of course, naturally, you can't recover all, but we'll get a lot of it. So it's exciting. I remember how Dr. Ayine said the money that is recovered can be used to help do the expressway from Accra to Kumasi, to make the journey faster, etc. We need incubators for babies, more facilities in the hospitals, etc. So it's exciting. Somebody even said, the nurses strike. When we recover some of the money, it can be used to pay their allowances, the grievances that they have. So it's all very exciting.
But you look at the charges as well, and I asked the question specifically of you recall the Attorney General himself saying a member of Parliament was allegedly paid to, as it were, bury this story in the media. Today, I asked that question for an update on what has become of that particular part of the investigation. This is the response that the Attorney General gave to that particular question that I asked. And I wanted to listen to it, and if that takes the box for you, having to know that now we know the identity of this member of Parliament and what the AG is doing next.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your very wonderful questions. The question in relation to the member of Parliament who was in the center of the investigation. There are two members of Parliament who were investigated in this scandal. One was a former chief executive officer, that is the Honorable Mustafa Yusuf. And so in his case, we basically had the evidence, relating to actions that he had taken as the executive officer, and then we interrogated him. In the case of the famous A+, the investigation is still ongoing, and there are talks with him with respect to the role that he will play, either in respect of providing evidence against those who try to do what is alleged to have been done, or if at the end of the day no agreement is reached, then maybe he will have to stand trial. That is where we are with respect. So the investigations are ongoing. We haven't concluded with him yet. The investigators were supposed to go to Parliament and do the interrogation in Parliament. And at the last time that they made a request, they could not do the interrogation. Now,
so that's a response to the question I asked about this identity of the MPOs alleged to have been paid. Now we know said to be A+, Kwame Asari-Obeng, and then he gives that detail of what the Attorney General is doing in that regard. How do you react to this?
Okay, so it's also a good day for our democracy. That our democracy has been moved a notch higher in terms of its ability to hold persons in public office accountable. Because now that A+ is being officially named as a person responsible for that, I'm sure A+ will also be thinking twice, or he will reflect over his role in all of this. And perhaps, it may ginger him to want to give up those people who brought that money to him. And then, A+ himself, as I said, he would also reflect to see that, well, he has barely served even 1 year in Parliament, and this is what he's been what we call caught up in. You see that then it tells you that it's so, sometimes it's easy to sit there and hold other persons accountable, but then when it comes to one's personal affairs, it's a different ball game. So it's good. It's good for our democracy. It's a warning to all of us who are helping to keep public officers in check, that we also should be very mindful of our conduct, because at the time, at least A+, I think from the facts, it appears, is it clear that by then A+ had won the elections? Even if he had won, okay, let me see. Do you have information whether from the facts?
No, we don't have the timelines to when the money was given to him.
Yes, so I think my mind tends to think that if you want to kill a story, then that's in last year. Was it somewhere around October, November, or even early? Yes, November, there about October or November when the story broke. So then it tells you that, it's easy to hold public officers to account, but maybe we do also want to hold ourselves to account. So it's a big lesson for all of us in the anti-corruption and governance space that we have to be careful. Yes, we have to be careful, because who would have thought that A+, who rode the moral high horse, talking about Kufuado and all the people, would be caught up in this particular quagmire. So it's a lesson to all of us.
And Counsel, finally, before I let you go, look at the charges that have been preferred against these two other individuals. And I'll find out your thoughts on this. Stealing, contrary to Section 12641, conspiracy to steal, willfully causing financial loss to the state, and using public office for profit, conspiracy to commit money laundering, and money laundering. How does this strike you?
Yeah, so those are very serious offenses, Very serious. Don't joke. Look, when you look at stealing, it goes with a maximum of 25 years. That's a maximum term. Yeah, so depending on the quantum involved, each person, it's very serious. Stealing is a second-degree felony. That's extremely serious. It's scary. I just hope that, if the people involved, really accept that everything Dr. Ayine said is true, then they may want to do plea bargain to be able to reduce their sentences. Because if you argue this case in court, if you went through a full trial, usually the sentence will be far higher than if the accused did a plea bargain. Yes. So it's really scary. To be honest with you, it's scary because, as I said, stealing is the highest. It goes with up to 25 years. Yeah, that's really, really, really scary because you don't know the day the judge may go for the maximum to say that he wants it to be a deterrent to other like-minded persons. Yeah. So let's see how it turns out. The only other thing is that, and another journalist asked that question, that she gave intelligence that she had heard that lawyers for the suspects would subsequently frustrate the trial so as to make it last long, like the Opuni trial, etc. And then I heard the Attorney General says, well, he's prepared for that. We hope there are no frustrations, etc., so that the recoveries and the trials can come to an end quickly, so that we can get some money into the public purse to help with our developmental activities. And also the closure of the cases would then would send final messages to people that, hey, we all need to be careful, because, sometimes for as long as there's not been any convictions yet, we would still say all these people are innocent until proven guilty. That's Article 19 Clause 2. So though we have heard, and though they will suffer some reputational losses for what we've already heard, but ultimately they are not guilty until a trial goes on and they are proved guilty, or they themselves admit their guilt either in court or through plea bargaining. So let's see how it goes. But certainly, as I said, the most important fruit out of today's press conference is that it tells us that we did the right thing by kicking out the MPP. And it was always clear, they kept denying, we are not corrupt, we are not doing anything wrong. I know citizens, we all can't be stupid. We could see it, the lifestyles, the big cars, the multiple homes they've bought, etc. Look at, you see, Osei e-switch card containing 8 million Ghana. E-switch card, 8 million Ghana. Osei, how? When he was coming to office, did he have such an e-switch card? How do you do this? So as I said, it's good. Let's go on.
And Council, I do appreciate it. And maybe quickly before you go, I think that the major point is that the recovery is an integral part of the entire strategy of oral that you were part of, is it not?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And Dr. Ayine mentioned it. Yes. So for me, all these people that Dr. Ayine has mentioned, yes, for me, will publicly say that, look, yes, even though it appears he's going to charge all of them, if it turns out that they all want to return the money so that maybe even some even with a bit of interest, I would go for it too, because we need the money quickly. We need it quickly. Usually we don't gain much from long sentences. So you see that Dr. Ayine says, so to be clear, from what I heard, I didn't hear from the beginning, but to be clear, the 500 and something million that they are recovering. It appears that is for those who are making deals with the Attorney General, Dr. Ayine, right? The 560 million. That is for those who have entered into deals, the non-prosecution agreement. That's where he's making that money. Is that not so?
And that's why he put a specific figure to it, yes, as to how much they have uncovered was lost to the scheme as a result of the entire scheme.
No, then let's disaggregate it more. So what I'm interested in is that these 12 persons who are going to be put before the court, how much is that figure as against those who have agreed to return the money? Because those going to court, my point is that we are not going to make the money today or later this year. No. If they decide not to plead guilty, etc., it's not now. It will be years. Look, even without frustrating the court, from the way our criminal cases run, you are not likely to finish in less than a year. Even when the judge is doing daily trials, etc., you are not likely to finish in less than a year. So maybe let's see if we can disaggregate to know out of the 560 something million, how much are we getting an immediate recovery? That's those returning the money immediately. And then those going before the court, how much is with them? Those going before the court also want to return their money. I think Dr. Ayine should accept, because I think I heard a part of it where he said some people wanted to do a deal, but he wasn't in favor.
Yes,
because of the role. No,
the role they played.
I think that, you see, there are many more cases. So sometimes we need to accept, so that we can accept money into the public kitty and move on. Because sometimes when you say no, you will not accept, you want to prosecute the person, you go into court in years. Let's remember this example. The last time Dominic tried that, you see, he got his fingers bent, and then the state also lost because he was caught in a Japa tape, trying to coach witnesses, doing very unethical things. And number two, the state didn't get the 2.3 million euros, right, that the deep sea people had promised to refund. Maybe next time there's a press conference, we should ask Dr. Ayine, would he write to the ambulance company to see if we can still get the refund? So that is a deep, and a very fresh example for all of us as a nation. Sometimes the people say they will return money. Let's accept it. I know a lot of Ghanaians will say, no, the person should go to jail. But the person will not go to jail in a day or two. The moment you say the person should go to jail, the person may say no. Then I'll try out my luck in court. So I want a full trial, hoping that something will happen. Maybe in the process, a judge may be transferred. It will delay the case a bit. The state attorney may travel abroad to school. They will give it to another person. 1,001 reasons can help delay the case. And then maybe the person will be timing. You see, when you're doing analysis, okay, let me see. President Mama has 4 years. We've already done 6 months. So effectively, he has 3 years. Maybe the next NDC leader, these people will begin to look for him and be in his good books so that when he comes, you say, oh, no, stop this trial. Sure. It's a complex, So when somebody offers money, we should take it. Instead of, no, we want to convict you in a court of law to serve as a deterrent. Ask Godfrey Dami. Today, Godfrey Dami is ruined because the Japa tape will follow him forever. You see it? And then we didn't get the money that the ambulance company wanted to refund to us. Yes.
Council, appreciate your time on this, and I know we're going to be engaging more on this in the coming days. Thank you so much. Martin Pebo is a member of the Operation Recover All Loot preparatory team. They've rounded up their work, submitted the report to the president that has been forwarded to the Attorney General, and one of the cases in the oral report is this National Service Authority ghost name scandal, which the Attorney General gave some detail, an update on, very, very important update on, and then also what the way forward is after they have rounded up their investigations in collaboration with the National Intelligence Bureau.
Pesos into his account from 2021 to 2024. Suspect Charles Ayine of GH548M Ventures received a total payment of 14,235,118 Ghana cedis and 14 pesos into his account from 2022 to 2024. Suspect Kweku Opare Agofa and Prince Agofa Awoku of Fralisa Ventures received a total payment of 9,011,164 and 35 Ghana cedis into their accounts from 2023 to 2024. However, none of the aforementioned vendors provided evidence to the investigative team or to myself to prove that the amounts of money they received corresponded to the items supplied or the loans supposedly made to the National Service personnel.
This is Dr. Dominic Ayine, Attorney General, Minister of Justice there. And this 548,333,546 Ghana cedis is a total of the money lost to this national service scheme over a 6-year period from what we gathered. And Lord Edwasari is here and is going to run through a breakdown of the yearly monies lost that culminated into this total of 548,333,542 Ghana cedis. Lord, what do we know?
Indeed, Alfred, 6-year period, and you, like you rightly mentioned, it culminated into 548,333,542 cedis, 0.65 pesos. And it's interesting to note that in the year 2022-2023, that year recorded the highest amount of money lost. That was about 350,926,977.12 pesos. So, Alfred, let me take you through. Start from 2018-2019. That year, 25,857,836 and 16 pesos was lost. And then in 2019-2020, 21,613,962.24 pesos. And then 55 in 2020-2021 was 55,670,584 million cedis, 0.32 pesos. In 2022, 61,383,025 cedis, 0.74 pesos. 2023, like I indicated earlier, 350,926,977.12 pesos. And then 2024 being the final year, that was 32,881,157 cedis, 0.7 pesos, Alfred. So if you do the sum of all these 6 years, you get a total of 548,333,542 cedis, 0.65 pesos.
Oh, sorry, thank you. And just the details and the names of the 12 persons, the listed suspects or accused persons, including the top former government appointees of the National Service Authority. And these are the persons who, according to the Attorney General, the details today: Mustafa Yusuf, a former executive director who was eventually appointed the Minister for Youth and Sports. He is the Member of Parliament for the Kabore constituency, who indeed also came up for discussion, especially when this matter came up, and we're asking questions about within which period all of this took place. Mustafa Yusuf is the first on the list per what the Attorney General gave us today. The Member of Parliament for Yagaba Kabore constituency, Gifty Oware Mensah, former Deputy Executive Director, and Osea Sibe Entry, immediate past Director General. He succeeded Mustafa Yusuf. And then also Kwame Ohenejan, former Deputy Executive Director in charge of operations. Abraham Bismarck Gazy, a former internal auditor. Kweku Ejay, an account officer. Idrisu Abubakar, a former head of accounts. Stephen Kwabena Jemfi, former regional director for Koforedia. Also Prince Awoku, a district director. Jacob Yorson, Management Information Systems Administrator in the Northern Region. There are 2 additional unnamed suspects who are reportedly involved and will be added later. There's also another suspect, one Stephen Kwabena Jemfi, who was rearrested earlier in the day after new evidence surfaced. So that's the information that we have on these persons, the 12 that are going to be facing trial as a result of this over 548 million cedis National Service Ghost Name scandal, Lord.
Yeah, and then Alfred, there are also vendors that the Attorney General noted that they go ahead to file charges against them. They are located in the Eastern, Greater Accra, and Ashanti regions. These vendors are Isaac Osai Asameni, the owner of Stalwart or Option Buy Ventures; Charles Oheming, the owner of CH Ohek Ventures; Philomena Arthur, the owner of Brainwave Ventures. Then there's Rose Hamilton, the owner of Marine Ventures; Kweku Opare Agbofa, the owner of Franlisa Ventures; another here called Solomon Dramina, the owner of Alpha Rita Ventures; Haruna Maulaya, the owner of Alphaida Enterprise; Sylvia Ntirwa Opare, the owner of Silsona Ventures; and then Peter Mensah, a legal practitioner and the husband of Gifty Oware Mensah. These persons, the Attorney General indicated that are part of the list that they'll be filing the charges against.
Thank you, Lord Edward. Sorry for this update. All of this you'll find on 3news.com. So make some time and visit 3news.com. It's also live on our Facebook page right now at 3FM927. The numbers will be running by you and the details of all these individuals we're talking about. It's all live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Now, let's go into the matters related to the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. They've